there. So I would start the recording so that we could just have a replay for others. So welcome, Ini. Where are you watching us from? Can she hear me? I think she's on. You can use the chat box. You can use the chat box. Okay, Wilson is in here too. Okay, welcome, Wilson. Thank you for being in here. Our cameras are off. Can we turn on our cameras if you're in a good place so that it will be, really nice? We'll go off once, the presentation is about to start. So thank you for being in here. We truly do appreciate everyone for taking out a bit of their time to be here. Where are you watching us from? Wilson, you're welcome. I hope you can all hear.
Good evening, Coach. Good evening, everyone.
Oh, God, Wilson. Wilson is watching all the way from Uganda. When
amazing.
I saw someone click my link from Uganda, I was suspecting it was Wilson. Wilson, you're welcome.
I'll hide my location next time.
I hear you. How is everything? How is that place?
It's fine. It's fine. I'm in a district 2 hours drive from Kampala.
Okay.
Masaka.
Okay, that is
Masaka. Thanks.
Is it the same time zone?
No, 2 hours ahead. So it's 10. It's 10 o'clock now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Wow. Okay.
I still use Nigerian time to sleep, which is a disadvantage.
Okay. Wow. Because your body clock has not synergized with the new place. Okay, that's fine. Ine, are you in here? We can't see you.
It has not yet. My connection.
We can't see you, Ine. I think we still have some others that would come on, in between. So like we said, we want to find out a few things. Do you work in an NGO, or you plan to own your own, or there is an idea, or you have your own already? You have your own, you work in an NGO, or you plan to own your own. If you're in category, I have my own NGO, number 1. 2, I plan to own my own. 3, I work in an NGO. Please, we would love this to be interactive. It's not a large audience, This NGO thing is not a large audience, but it's a very impactful, thing that we're going to be talking about. Sometimes people forget their priorities, So a lot of people did register. We'll find them. They would come on later, and all of that. So Wilson says, I work in one. Whoop, whoop. He says he plans to own his own. That's interesting. So that is really good. And, we're going to facilitate this conversation. Please have your notebook ready. Mine is ready. My pen, my notebook is ready. Thank you for being in here. I would introduce our guest tonight, Efua Elens Edeh. So I'll just read a little bit about her and, allow her to also, share some more insights around the type of work she does, and why she's the best person, for this conversation. So Efua is a developmental consultant. Efua Edeh, she's a developmental consultant, researcher. We have more people coming in, and I wanted them to have joined Nigerian time. God help us. So Efua Edeh. Okay, Suleiman, you're welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so when you come in, tell us where you're watching us from. Do you work in an NGO? You plan to have one, or you have one already? You could use the chat box. So we've started our webinar tonight. My name, first of all, is Ojuga Jungwa. I'm so delighted to be, talking about this topic because we live in, do we call this a third world nation or an emerging country, in Africa, Nigeria? We're supposed to be the giant of Africa, but of course there is so much to be done in this space, in our nation. And this topic would really help us to, position ourselves, to be those change agents, that change agent that we are looking for. So Efua is going to be handling this topic, how to run an NGO. Efua is a developmental consultant, Efua Elens. She's a researcher as well and a public speaker. She also teaches. In fact, she's such a great, by the time you hear her voice today, you know that we didn't come to play, but she does so well communicating. I think she has a Toastmaster, something over there. So Efua, I'm hailing you. She has over 15 years of experience doing all of this. She's one passionate woman. She told me she wants to impact the world. She wants the world to know that she has come, and that's why I'm like so excited about the type of work she decided to focus on. She has niched it down so much that she helps organizations build their institutions. She's the founder of Social Impact Consulting. She has her MBA, which is one of her highest degrees in public administration from the Keller Graduate School of Management, and a host of other professional certifications. And I want to humbly welcome Efua to our conversation tonight. Efua, you're highly welcome. Thank you for making out time to be here. So I'll put off my camera so that we don't have this conversation dropping or anything of sorts. So welcome, Efua. I'm handing over the mic to you.
Thank you all so much for having me. Thank you, Coach Ojiogo, for having me. It's just such a pleasure and honor to be here. Well, I started working on, trainings and capacity building many years ago. But when I got to Nigeria and started doing development work here and traveling around the country, I began to realize that a lot of organizations lack the institutional capacity to be able to manage large-scale projects. So because of that, I started seminars and trainings on how to start and run a sustainable NGO. And so I have been teaching institutional strengthening, organizational development, and advocacy, which in Chicago, where where my career started, it was organizing. So thank you so much for having me. So if you can just put in the comment section, what thematic area are you considering? Or if you have an NGO, what thematic area does it cover? And is it something that you're passionate about? So if I can see your response in the comment section, that would be great. Anything? So what are you passionate about? Is it gender, nutrition, water, sanitation and hygiene, wash, agriculture? Okay, Wilson is training and capacity building. Okay, so is it training of entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, youth entrepreneurs? So what kind of training are you looking to work on? Or is it organizational development? Which are you looking at? And then is there anything else as well? So Wilson, let me see if he responded to that again. Education to increase the employability of Nigerian graduates. Okay, that's Coach Ojiogo is saying education to increase the employability for Nigerian graduates. That is awesome. Training and capacity building. So it's mostly the increase of human capital. So are you all looking at youth? So I will look at it as youth development, okay?
Okay.
To train you to, awesome. Thank you, Wilson. Awesome. Thank you, you niched it down, awesome. So now, So as you're thinking about starting your nonprofit, let me ask another question. What made you decide to look into education and to Coach Ojivu, what made you decide to increase the employability of Nigerian graduates? Wilson, what made you decide to train youth for skills? Like, what's the story behind that? If I can get a story behind why.
Okay, can I use the mic? Because this typing.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Wilson. Please go ahead.
Okay. How will I put it? I grew up, or my work experience has been as a youth has been not so pleasant. And I discovered, I learned along the line that there are some skill set that you need in organizations that you find yourself. And I would just say across the years, I've gained these experiences, and I feel that I should give back to the society. I'm a youth pastor, and I see a lot of our church members, youths, that just have this idea that because I have a degree, I can get a job. I'm like, no, it's not just having a degree. It's having a skill set, like something as easy Microsoft and church that can train you for free. Because when we were in secondary school, when we graduated from secondary school, we organized this free tutorials for people to write WIEC. So that's the mentality I now had. If we have people in the church that can train these guys for free, why don't we come together and build them? Since we've experienced, how will I put it? We've experienced, should I say, the not so pleasant side of job hunting. And now we have the experience that to guide these youth. Okay, you need something as simple as Excel skill, Microsoft Word, and if you have this skill, you'll be valuable in an organization. Then they can now develop other skills like data analysis and all those software. I don't know all that, but something as simple as Microsoft Office, a lot of youth in the church don't know it, and they're telling me they are looking for jobs. You understand?
Okay. So Wilson, that is really a huge gap, and it's similar to what Coach Ojiru was saying, that there are lots of gaps with our graduates having little employable skills, And Wilson, your experience behind that was some of the struggles you had to go through to gain the employable skills that you have now. So, and then also being a youth pastor, seeing that the youth, they lack the skills that they need to actually become employable. And you've actually identified people and volunteers who will be willing to train them for free. So you've already started something here, which is what I'm going to allude to in my presentation. So what I am going to be covering is, your organizational identity. And then from there, building your organization out of that. So you've already come up with your organizational identity, Wilson and Coach. You've come up with an identity, which is, hey, I am passionate about youth because I had the challenge of having to learn these skills on my own to become as marketable as I am now. So I want to build that platform for young people so that they don't have to go through what I went through as a youth, trying to figure my way through the landmine of career development, okay? So you have a story behind what you want to build, okay? So that is when you look at your identity, because your organizational identity has to have a story behind it. Any organization that is successful always has a story behind it. So your story is going through the marketplace and trying to gain the skills. So, now you have the skills, you want to actually transfer that over. So that is your organizational identity. And it is through that you're now able to build your vision and your mission, okay? And then once you build your vision and your mission, then you're now looking at how you're going to build your institutional capacity as an organization. In terms of, and it's from your organizational identity that you now even come up with what the name of your organization would be. Oh, what would be the name of my organization? In a country like Nigeria, Wilson, you're in Uganda, you have to figure out, okay, how am I going to what name will be acceptable by the agency that's there, right? So if it's if in Nigeria, it's a corporate affairs commission, so you have to come up with names. But it's because of this passion, you're going to come up with a name that resonates with that, right? So then you're now able to now say, okay, this is the name of my organization, and now I can begin to build from there. Are you all following me?
Yes, we are.
Awesome, awesome. So now you've come up with your identity. So we're now going to be going into institutional capacity, right? Now, by the time when I talk about institutional capacity, I'm going to divide it into 3 parts, right? It's going to be, we're going to be looking at corporate governance, we're going to be looking at programs, and we're going to be looking at administration, okay? So as you've now come up with your vision and your mission, Mr. Wilson, you've already come up with your volunteers, because you've already identified people in your church that will train this youth.
Yeah.
You already have people. I have people who are going to train the youth. Yes. Now you cannot have these folks identify with your organization. You now need to approach them. Okay, this is what I'm thinking. Are you interested? And they can say, oh yes, oh no. Well, will you be interested in being a resource person, a volunteer resource person, or would you be interested in joining our board of trustees? Okay, so I'm going into corporate governance now, going into my board of trustees. So they'll now let you know, oh, these are the skills that I bring, and I'm going to become a member of your board of trustees. Now, with your board of trustees in Nigeria, with the CAC, there are 2 different types of nonprofit registration, and you will talk to your lawyer about that, but I can cover some of it. Is incorporated trustee, right, which is strictly nonprofit. You have trustees who would be the ones to spearhead the organization. So if they have any, if the organization is sued, it affects them as well, because they are the trustees of that organization. Okay, so you have the incorporated trustee, and it's strictly non-for-profit. And then you now have your limited by guarantee, which is my favorite type of registration. The limited by guarantee, one thing I like about the limited by guarantee is that you can actually do some for-profit work using that status. And then the profits that are gained from that, from your business activities, can now be put back in the organization, okay? So that's my favorite type of, and we call that social enterprise, okay? So with the limited by guarantee, you now have your board of directors that are now able to connect directly with your organization as limited by, as guarantors actually, okay? So those are the 2 different types of registration. Because of the KAMA law, they've made it easy to register a social enterprise. You know, before you had to wait about a year to be approved by the Attorney General of the Federation, but now you don't have to do that. If there's no approval in 60 days, they'll go ahead and register you, so that they don't slow things down in terms of, that's the new KAMA law that passed last year, okay? So that is, you know, in terms of corporate governance, after having your vision, your mission, you have your trustees. You know, we'll talk, you know, talking more about trustees is very important, that you have the right people as a member of your trustees. Don't just put anybody. Don't just put your brother, your sister, your mommy, your daddy, your sister-in-law. No, you put the right people that will hold you accountable and add value to the organization, okay? Because a lot of people, like, for example, if I put a prominent development expert into my organization, I'm not going to want to play. And they're not going to want to play, because their reputation is at stake as well. So you now have to sit up as an organization, okay? So once you have your board members, make sure you have an odd number. 5 to 7 would be okay. Okay, sometimes people have 11 13, 15, so that you can have a quorum easily. If you have 5, if there are 3 board members there, you have a quorum, okay? So you make sure that you have an odd number of board of directors, okay? So now once you have that, Corporate Affairs Commission mandates that you have your trustees, and then you also have your meeting minutes and your annual filings, which is your audited financial reports. But when you first register, that is not required. You just need to have a list of your board of trustees. Don't have people who are under investigation by EFCC. Don't have people of questionable repute in your board of trustees, because they have money. Don't try it. It will affect your organization. Donors will look at it and they'll frown. Okay. So once you have that and then you've registered your organization, you are now in a place where you have your corporate governance. Make sure that you have your chair, your vice chair, the secretary is the executive director, and then the treasurer, who's responsible for making sure that there's funding in the organization, maybe in charge of fundraising, and depending on what's requirements in your constitution that you want your treasurer to be responsible for, okay? Now, that is corporate governance. And within your corporate governance, you come up with your strategy. As an output of your board meeting, you come up with your strategy, and it is from your strategy you now begin to operate as an organization. And I'll have more of that information in my webinar, which is how to run your NGO, okay? And then more on the corporate governance on how to start and run a sustainable NGO. Those two, the ebook webinar, will give you a lot of meaty information about corporate governance. I'm now gonna go into programs. Within your strategy is your what. What am I about to do? Okay. Your programs within your strategy is how am I gonna get it done? Okay. So how you're going to get it done is your theory of change. Okay. So for example, I'm going to come up with a theory of change for Wilson and Kuchojilgo's thematic area. So if the youth in Nigeria have all the skills needed to become employable, then—
Sorry, one question.
Yes. No problem.
Some people don't know what theory of change means. So please, could you expand?
Yeah, I want to come up with it. Thank you. So theory of change is a methodology that's used that starts with the end result of what you want to do, okay? And then works its way backwards to what you need to now get it done. So it's a type of methodology, okay? So it starts with a statement. With a theory of change, it starts with a statement. And that statement, the if is what you need. Then the then is the actual long-term outcome and impact. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So that's what the theory of change is. So the theory of change is now, and for more information about theory of change, I have a YouTube channel called Social Impact Consulting. It's a social impact consulting with a big S, okay? Because once you go on YouTube, it's social impact consulting or social impact, you see a lot of stuff going on, but mine is with a big blue S, baby. So once you go there, there is a video that talks about theory of change, but that is pretty much the statement. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if the youth have all the skills to become employable then Nigeria will develop and there will be less insecurity in our nation because there'll be more jobs. There'll be more employable youth, because the challenge right now is that youth are not employable. So let me say that, let me make that statement again. If the youth have all the skills that they need to become employable, then there would be more, then there would be more youth occupied with work and there would be more security in Nigeria. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like there's an if and then there's a then. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you can pick which. You can say there will be less unemployment, then there'll be less unemployment in Nigeria, or then there will be less insecurity, or then there will be more national development. So depending on what you want your outcome to be. So mine is more of a blanket statement. Do you get what I'm saying? So now, let me give you an example of a MacArthur Foundation theory of change. If the public, private, and development sector work together, then there would be a greater nation and national development in Nigeria. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's their theory of change. That's why they fund nonprofits. That's why they fund the federal government, state and local government. That's why they fund some private sector businesses such as media. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that statement will now be the root behind the work you do. Do you understand what I'm saying? And to even get a theory of change statement, you now have to do a problem tree analysis. A problem tree analysis is how you analyze what your problem is. You now want to know what the root cause of your problem is. Do you understand? And these are things you'll be going over with your board. Do you understand? So that's what I'm saying. So you'll be going over what is really the issue with youth unemployment. Why is it such a problem? Do you get? So these are conversations you'll be having with your board members. Do you get? Because you're now coming up with you're now putting in the how of how you're going to build your mission and your vision. Okay? So once you build that theory of change statement, then you're now saying, okay, this is what I can do as an organization. I want to, let's say you're working in Ojuelegba. Do you understand? And you're saying, okay, I'm in Ojuelegba or you are in Ajegunle. And you're saying, okay, I want to train 1,000 young people in 2022. You get what I'm saying? I want to train 1,000 young people in 2022. And as a result of that, there will be increased employment in Ojuelegba. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So, how are you going to measure it? That is another thing, is, okay, I want to do that, but what do they need in Ojuelegba? What is the economic, how do they maintain their economy in Ojuelegba? Is it an industrial town? Do they do a lot of buying and selling? What are some of the things? What is the source of livelihood in that area? Do you understand? So now I need to do a baseline assessment. Need a baseline assessment, a needs assessment. Then from there, you can now harvest the data and say, okay, this is what, based on the data that I've gotten, this is what is needed in this area. Don't go into a Ojuelegba and say, I want to do computer training. What if that's not what they need? Do you understand what I'm saying? What if they need auto mechanics or carpenters? Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So you have to conduct an assessment. You know your theory of change. You've done your problem tree analysis, developed your theory of change. Now you're saying, okay, I need to do a baseline assessment. Then you've come up with, okay, this is what we need in this area. Now, my outcomes is, my output is 1,000 people. What is my outcome? Are we going to have more auto mechanics, so there'll be more people working? Is it going to be more carpenters? Is it going to be more IT specialists who then work to enable auto mechanics? You need to figure out what their source of livelihood is there in that area. and how they can empower themselves and even walk themselves out of Ojuelegba and do more for themselves. So that will now become your long-term outcome and impact. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to train these people. So, okay, so what am I going to need after training these 1,000 people? I need, I need volunteers, okay? So where am I going to get these volunteers from? They're in my church. Okay, I'll need 50 volunteers. How many cohorts do I need to get to 1,000 people? So you're now working your way backwards. Do you understand? So from outcomes, you work your way back to outputs. You now work your way back to activities, then inputs. So the input is now what you need. You need people. You need money. You need people. You need money, and you need a facility. So these are some things that you need. So a theory of change framework. I've talked about the output and outcomes. The outcomes is I want to reduce unemployment in Ojuelegba. The output is I want to train 1,000 young people in Ojuelegba in 2022. Then you now work your way back to, okay, activities. What activities do I need to do? What kind of skill acquisition programs am I going to develop? And then from there, you go back to input. There's going to be a lot more information about that in my webinar course, which is NGO, how to run your NGO, okay? So that is your programming. You get what I'm saying? Through this theory of change. Then, any questions about that before I move into administration? Because I know that's a bit more technical.
Okay.
Exactly. You build a log frame. Sometimes it's a log frame, sometimes it's key results framework. It's you know, so you build that log frame, you work your way backwards. That is your theory of change framework. So so what I was explaining was you work your way backwards. So you're not working your way forwards. You understand what I'm saying? You need to know what you want to do first, then work your way backwards to and what you need to get done. So which is that theory of change itself. And it's that log frame. It is that log frame that you now use for monitoring. And it is that log frame that an evaluator will now come and look at to make sure that the work is actually done. Okay. So and that's pretty much that. So that is programming. Then you go into administration. Administration is, you know, just like running any type of business. A non-profit organization is a business. It's a social impact business, right? It's a social impact business. In for-profit, it's to make profit. In a non-profit, it's to make impact. Okay. So the administration, you need a few fundamental things. You need, of course, human resources. You need to have your finances, because like I said, in my course, NGO fundraising for social impact, I talk about how you build your strategy, right? How you build your strategy to then, build your fundraising plan. Okay, and it's your fundraising plan. You now have money that will be managed within your organization. So that is pretty much accounting and finance, marketing and communications, which is because the way we, most for-profit organizations, they say, see, our product is better than the product of the next person, or see, our service is much better than the service of the next person. But a nonprofit organization is about storytelling, right? So if you have one of your beneficiaries that has really been impacted by your program, that is your selling point as an organization. Yes, that's how they sell that's how you sell your product, which is your programming, right? So that's marketing and communication. And then you now have your monitoring and evaluation. Most times internally as an NGO, you just have somebody that monitors your programming, make sure that the sign-in sheets are complete, make sure that the reports are written, make sure that pictures are taken, stories are recorded, surveys are analyzed. These are means of verification in your log frame. Because if somebody is saying, I had 100 people at this training, well, really, how? Well, our means of verification is sign-in sheets. You know what I mean? We have sign-in sheets, and this is proof that we had 100 people that showed up. So let me mention it again. So you have the administration, which is, you know, running the office, procurement, human resources, operations, and stuff like that, in terms of making sure that things run, you know, making sure that, you know, the program officers have a car to go to wherever they need to go, or they plan their logistics, whether it's airfare, train ticket, their hotel, whatever they need to run, to conduct their activities. And then, so that's pretty much the day-to-day operations of the organization. So that's admin, right? And then HR is managing the human, which is the people that work there, human resources. And then there are various policies that kind of manage and kind of govern the administration of an organization. There's more information about that in how to run your NGO in the webinar that I have. So with that, there are various policies: personnel, procurement, conflict of interest, and various other policies that govern the administration of your organization. So I've just crammed in a nutshell, building an institutional capacity to run your organization's corporate governance, programming, and administration. Now, after dealing with the institutional capacity, you now have to think of what kind of funding you need, depending on your organization. So if you're trying to build skills for for youth, you can go to CSR departments of organizations, corporate CSR. You know, a lot of times they want to know that they are able to build human capital in the various communities of where they do business. So when you look at your competitors and as you're doing your strategic plan and you do a competitive analysis, you see that organizations that you'll be competing with funding on is people like EDC, Faith Foundation, sometimes Leap Africa. So these kinds of organizations provide capacity building for businesses, right? So like for young people, you have organizations like Junior Achievement Nigeria, but they conduct a very small program and bring in a small pool of young youth service members. So that may not be people that you're competing with, but there are various other organizations like Paradigm Initiative that has now become Pan-African, that builds the capacity of young people, but they specialize in information technology. So you analyze which organizations that you would be competing with in terms of funds and what kind of funding they get. You know, and a lot of these organizations, they get money from corporates, they get money from some donors. You know what I mean? So you have to now figure out who they get money from, and then other creative ways within your organization to be able to raise unrestricted funding. So this is the types of funding that you would need to actually run your organization. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. A lot of this information I actually have an ebook webinar combo, which is only 9,900 naira, which covers all what I've talked about, but it expatiates it a whole lot. And then I have an online course, which talks about positioning your organization to now become the institution that it needs to be. And what this does, it shortens your learning curve. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm an NGO, what do I need to do? But a lot of nonprofit, I've worked with a lot of nonprofit leaders, I've run an organization, and if you don't have a lot of this knowledge, you just kind of not be able to move forward as quickly. So you want to move forward quickly and you want to impact these youth quickly. You don't want to just say, okay, let me start and figure out my way. For people who already know, try to work with them so that you can figure it out very, very quickly. So if you guys have any questions, you feel free to ask me.
Thank you so much for the expose. I think this is like a tip of the iceberg, on what Efua really does, building the structures, because when your foundation is right, when you're starting an NGO, building an NGO, you would go really far and very fast. So getting it done properly is what she's talking about. Thank you for sharing from your heart. I love the part of making sure that you have at least 3 board members, because that would make any sponsor or donor looking from the outside to know that there is a bit of accountability, with what is being said, and all of that. And I love the theory of change. Please follow her Social Impact Consulting YouTube channel. She has a video that will truly explain the theory of change in depth. And I think without much ado, we've thrown the floor open. You can turn on your mic for questions. And we have a feedback form, in there. Please take a look at pulling out the link, but don't just go there yet because we've not rounded up. I just did that so that we could, get some feedback from the participants. Thank you, Pam, for being in here. Ini, we've not heard your voice. We need to hear your voice. We want it to be engaging. So if you have questions, it's a beautiful time to turn on your mic and ask your question.
Hello, I put on my mic. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I've just been listening, and I just want to, express my gratitude for the opportunity and everything that you have said. You're doing such full work, and we're here to learn. Honestly, I just want to express where I am and my interest about this whole thing, so that you just give me a guide on what exactly I should be doing. For me, I have an NGO registered, and it's not as if I knew so much about this whole NGO thing, but one thing led to another, and I found that I have a registered NGO. Now, how things are supposed to be run, I am not really sure of what I'm doing. I just say I'm just learning as I'm going. So when I saw the ad, she put up, I said, okay, I need to come in here to learn. For me, this is how everything started. When I turned 40, I looked at myself and I thought that, God had really helped me and, blessed me. And, it was time for me to, in gratitude, give back to this, my God. I had so much looking at my life, so much going on, and I just traced everything back to the hand of God. And so I just thought, after 40 years from now on, I should be doing something and giving back in gratitude to God, all really in gratitude to God. So on my 40th birthday, and people always want to celebrate, and what I did, I said, whatever you think you want to do for me, if it's a card, if it's a car, just translate it to something we could give to, orphans. So we had a lot of people bringing in everything, and then we went to the orphanage, and then my friends really brought things from all over the place, travel from Port Harcourt, from everywhere. And, all I wanted just to reach out to the orphans. And that's how we got to that place and, reached out to them and everything. And thereafter, I just thought every month I should be able to, from the proceeds of the business that I do, get something out and give back. By the way, I saw in the Bible that we are blessed to be a blessing. And that word has really taken a very strong hold on me, that God has not blessed me just on myself and my 4 children, but somehow within the little he has blessed me to reach out to one person or the other. And so I thought to myself that at the end of every month, I'm a baker, I have a cake shop, and I told myself from whatever we're doing, we should be able to get something at the end of it, to go out there, to look out to somebody who we can be a blessing to. And so what I have been doing all these years now, by the way, I'm 48 years, so it's like 8 years running now. We go out, we go to orphanages, we go to the IDP camps, we reach out, we just along the streets, we reach out to destitutes on the road, we go to hospitals, we pay hospital bills. Sometimes I say, okay, let's go to school and pay school fees for some children who are less privileged, and a whole lot of things. Sometimes I train some people free in my, my office, and it's like an empowerment program. I've done that a lot of times, and I say as the Lord leads me. Now I've been doing this, and I kept on, like that. And I have a book that, I initially I wasn't writing, but at some points in my church, one of my care group leaders told me, "Madam, this thing you're doing, it's an NGO work that you're doing. If you don't know, just better go and do registration."
I think you're really on the right path, Ma. What I think you should do now is try to, since you already have a registered organization, do you have a bank account for the organization?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So what you do, anytime you want to do something for your organization, transfer the money from your corporate account to your organizational account, okay? The reason why I'm saying this is this, okay, is that you want to audit yourself every year, okay? You want to audit yourself every year. So anytime you want to do stuff for your organization, just transfer the money from your cake business to the organization. And anytime anybody wants to donate, you say, please donate to the foundation, so that you're now operating from the foundation's account, right, all the time. And then any type of receipts or anything you have, you just get, if it's the bookkeeper that's working on your business, maybe have them also manage that as well. You get what I'm saying? So that you're now keeping track of records of that. Yeah. So that way, when you are auditing your cake business, just tell the auditing firm, I have an NGO. Is there any way you can just audit that one for free as your donation? Do you understand what I'm saying? As your donation. So that they now audit that account. So that way, once you have that audit, you're not able to set up your board meeting and then say, hey, this is what we've done so far. Do you get what I'm saying? This is what we've done so far. These are the programs we've run. This is how much has run through the account. This is what we want. This is our goal for the next 3 years. This is how much we're going to need. And then we can now, then this way you can now approach fast-moving consumer good companies like flour mills, like the Dangotes and all those ones. They may not give you money, they may give you goods. And you can then monetize those in your audited financial reports, because you can monetize them and then put it in your audited financial report. Then you can now later on start asking for funding from people like the UN. You get what I'm saying? Or IOM, or people that, are doing work in the IDP camps. Do you get what I'm saying? So you want to position yourself that way to a structured organization that's even going to do even more work than you're doing now. And then you will now have a team of people working in your nonprofit. You now have a board of directors who are now running your organization, who are now governing your organization. So the ones that you have now in existence, if they are your cousins, your mom and them, that's what they say in America. You need to adjust those so that you have some independent people there, and then you are now structuring your
institution. We are already taking records, and over the years, people have begun to see the work that we're doing, and then a lot of people like, what you're doing is a good thing. Continue. God bless you. Some people ask me, how can I be a part of what you're doing? And some people, volunteer to just, give money here and there. And at a point, I decided to just put up a group for the people who have, shown interest. And we have a group of about like 30 people, that's every month, as the Lord leads me, I say, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And we'll be needing so amount of money, whatever. It's a free will. You pay whatever you want, and they pay into their accounts. You understand? We have done, even like last December, we put up a borehole, at the IDP camp, go for medical outreaches, and a whole lot we have done. Even we'll go to the prisons and reach out in a very large scale.
So do you communicate your work? Do you have social media? Are you on social media?
Yes, I had to open an Instagram page. Why? Because at some point, people started talking, you need to keep records so that in future, you want to have some reference on what you have done. I said, okay, let me open an Instagram page, which I have done, like at least it's going to like 2 years. Like I have to post everything that we do in that place just to save my pictures. That's actually, what I have done. It's there, Beautiful Ashes Rainbows Initiative. So that's the much I have done, and I'm looking at putting up a website because from what we have been able to do, I think that people are collecting money to fund whatever they are doing, and I have been on my own from my business and from the support of friends and family done this. I think we need some help and funding too. So
yes. So what I would recommend, I do have an online course that I think I'll put it here.
Yeah, you can put the link on there.
Yes. So just check that out, and then you can then order that course. It's only like 10K. What you would do is just go through it, and if you have any questions, if you have any questions about the course, we can do a discovery call and then we can talk a bit more.
No problem, I'll do that.
Okay, can you also drop, Efua, can you drop your WhatsApp number so that it's easy? I think everyone here is Nigerian with WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's beautiful. Thank you. So more questions. Wilson, what did you say about big boy NGOs? Wilson.
We have a small and medium scale enterprises. So I was just like asking for NGOs, because what Efua is saying, it's good, but it looks like it's for the big boys, the board of trustees. But I'm like,
no, actually, to be very honest with you, one success story that I really want to talk about is From to School Africa. He just started like what you want to start. He said, I just want to get some of my friends that are volunteers to help me to see how we can educate kids in the slums. That's how he started. And now he's all over, he's gotten a huge grant from UNICEF. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't say my own is small. No, you actually have all the tools you need. You've identified the youth you want to help, and you have volunteers in church that can teach. You can start in your church. Just make sure you register your organization. Get some trustee members. You get what I'm saying? So that it's legal. Do you understand? Then you can even use a room in your church and gather some youth. The volunteers come, they teach. Do you understand? You don't need just start there. Don't, the Bible says never despise humble beginnings. No, don't say that though. At all. No.
Okay. I think Nosike has a question. Nosike, you can turn on your microphone. Yes. Yeah. Introduce yourself. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much for Diego. My name is Nosike. I work in this space. I currently work with International Committee. Please, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
I'm struggling to hear you, Nosike.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
No, not really.
Oh, yeah. Okay, can you hear me now? I'm screaming.
I can hear you.
All right, great. So, so when you, I know that because I've been in the sector, when you're positioning for donors like FCD, that's commonly DFID and USID, when you look at the maybe from the early market engagements to the requirements for prepositioning and all that, the requirements are almost excludes smaller organizations. I'm saying almost always. So how would you recommend that local-based organizations or small organizations like Wilson rightly puts, kind of are in the place to bid? Because when you look at the requirements for example, FCD,
very good question.
A lot of around due diligence, corporate governance, safeguarding, and all that. So it's almost difficult for small local-led organizations to bid. That's on the one hand. So just second one.
This is the thing.
Sorry, just secondly, what I've also noticed, because again, I work in a sector that we kind of give out funds and donation and all that. So maybe because you want to raise an NGO, want to talk about NGO. When you ask them what do you want to do, a lot of times there's really no clear strategy of what they want to do. They just want to raise an organization, and what thematic area do you want to focus on? Is it maternal and child health? Is it HIV? Is it nutrition? There's really no clear path. So just more like out there that people always have to choose what they want to do and focus on.
You have to choose,
and
which is what was chosen here. Folks talked about youth development. They talked about youth and youth development. So and especially with capacity building, human capital development. You get what I'm saying? And with your question talking about a lot of the smaller organizations are pretty much not qualified to apply for like FCDO and the USAID. You're very right about that. That is why a lot of time, but now USAID, they started a skill project that is implemented by Palladium right now. And because USAID actually wants to fund local groups, you get what I'm saying? Now, what is going on now is that USAID, they of course, organizations accept and take on bids like Creative Associates, Palladium, Chemonics, or INGOs like IFES, IRI, NDI. These are bigger, Mercy Corps, CRS, bigger non-profits. So these organizations issue sub-grants, right? So these sub-grants, you get what I'm saying? You usually have a call for proposals, maybe in the paper, on development platforms and what have you. So smaller organizations can apply for those. Do you get what I'm saying? Can apply for sub-grant for like an NDI, like an IRI, IFES, Chemonics. Do you get what I'm saying? And then they will now sub-grant it to you as a smaller organization, and then you implement, and then you report to them, to these middlemen, if for a lack of a better word, and then they report to the direct agencies. You understand what I'm saying? It's not the ideal, but as a smaller organization to actually try to get in, even an organization like Yaga Africa, they were sub-granted by the Shehu Musa Yaraba Foundation. Do you understand? They didn't get money directly from DFID. Do you get? For you to get money directly from DFID, the way you will write there, and you have to be that structured organization to be able to get be that structured organization for a couple of years for you to be eligible. That's why I was telling Wilson, structure yourself early. Do you understand what I'm saying? No matter how small it is, no matter how much, even if it's 100,000 you have. Please hold on a second. Hello. So that's the thing. In order for you to be eligible, you get what I'm saying? And you said something that was right. People need to have to work on a key thematic area. You shouldn't be everywhere. And that's even, I think I was talking to my colleague that works for USAID. And she said, Nigerian NGOs, they just work on everything. And we can't work on everything. Do you understand?
Niche down, yeah.
You have to niche down to a specific thematic. So if somebody comes to you with an RFP for agriculture and you are working on youth, say, okay, is there anything, can I coin it down to empowering youth to look into the sector of agriculture so that they don't look down on agriculture, that they know that agriculture is actually a money-making machine that will be able to feed them and their families and enhance the economy. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you spun it to your thematic area. You are not just going into, you're not just drifting everywhere. You get what I'm saying? And you don't have any focus. You need to niche down as a nonprofit. So does that, Anosike, did I address your question? Yeah, they're everywhere. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
great,
amazing.
And more information about all that, Nosike, you can order my online course, like what you talked about in terms of working with, trying to work with USAID. It takes that journey, working with the middlemen first, and then them hearing about you, knowing about you, and knowing that your institutions and systems are good enough to manage their funds and run their programs directly.
Okay, so that has been such an insightful session. I learned a lot. If you see my notes, you know, when we started, I said, get your notes. I just registered. We also registered an NGO, so it's so insightful. We are in our early days, you know, putting in the building blocks. So this has really been so insightful. Thank you so much, Efua. Please show some love to Efua in the comment section, in the chats. Thank you for being here and, you know, sharing from your heart. We appreciate you. And we know that Africa would hear about Efua, you know, and the beautiful work she's doing, positioning these NGOs, because really, you know, if we can get it right, we'll build the Africa of the future, you know, that we truly want and truly desire. Thank you, Efua, for being in here. Thank you, all the participants in Nosike, Pamela, Wilson. Thank you for being in here. We'll save out the replay in case you came in, you know, a little bit late and all of that. Thank you so much. We appreciate everyone. Let me just say bye-bye with my video. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
All right.
So we'll end the meeting right now. So make sure that you're registering for her course. Is a deep dive, you know, into building that foundation properly. I think we've dropped that in the chat. Someone should take note. Let me drop your phone number as well in case it got lost. So that's on WhatsApp. Every Nigerian WhatsApps. So WhatsApp her for more details. And she provides she also provides, you know, customized advisory that you may find handy. You know, I can vouch for her. That's why I put her up here. So please connect with her. Leave us a feedback as well from the program. Would really appreciate to hear what you took away and what else you would want us, you know, to bring on board next time. Thank you and have a good night's rest. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.